be doing. So I decided to try and ambush him with a Hydrus instead. Once he thinks that I made a Spire and so on. So if he ever scouted it, and a quick lair and whatever else, so he might be thinking that, okay, I'm probably gonna make Midas, but so I decided to go Hydrus instead. Like that's how you wanna play. And since he made a 2-factory play, it's pretty obvious that he's gonna have more than enough Goliaths, like I said, to fend off my Mutalisks. So I just decided to make Hydrus instead, like right away, just to like gain whatever advantage early on. And secondly, since those Mutalisks are gonna be useless, it's better to have a Hydrus just to counter whatever Goliath or quick 2-factory or 3-factory play he might be doing. Like for example, if he just mashed up a couple of siege tanks and like 12 Goliaths or something and moved out, if I kept making Mutas, I would probably not survive. But if I keep making Hydras, then it might be another story. Of course, now that I have several Hydras and he's making, now that I see that he's making tanks, like I forced him to make tanks. He sees I have Hydras, so he wants to make tanks to counter those Hydras. Now what I do is that I make Mutas when he thinks that I have Hydras, and then he will have too many tanks to counter and too few Goliaths to counter my Mutas. And that's how you always want to keep playing against Mech. You always gotta want to keep thinking on how can I counter him, how can I trick him, and how can I play most efficient against him. And now that I had made a kind of 2 hatchery play, and since I'm gonna transition to Mutas, I decided to make my 3rd hatchery straight to the second expansion. I just wanted to gain a bit of economical lead, and also since I knew that I'm gonna go Mutas after that Hydra pressure, and I also made a Mutalisk carapace beforehand since I had the extra gas for it. But anyway, since I knew that I'm gonna go Mutas, I also know that I'm gonna need whatever extra gas income later on. Since I had a lot of gas saved up in this game, I really didn't need that 3rd gas as early on as over here, but I could have, and I will need it pretty soon, like afterwards. So it's good to take that 2nd expansion right away, at least if you play 2 hatchery tech play, and that goes for ZvT in general, even against infantry. Since if you do a 2 hat layer, you're gonna need gas far more than the 3rd hatchery for whatever else. So usually you take your 3rd hatchery to your 2nd expansion, and after that you make hatcheries for unit production and so on. Excuse me. So now I figure out that I probably have hidden my Mutas already long enough for this thing, so I figure that right now it's probably a good chance to go and harass a bit with my Mutas. Like I've hid them long enough, and I have enough to kind of take him by surprise. Of course, like 6 or 7 Mutalisks are gonna be useless unless he really expects them. So, and I want to do some damage with them anyway. But in this case, like he probably doesn't even know that I have Mutas. He expects them, and of course, since he's doing Mech, of course I'm gonna do Mutas later on. At least that's that has a very high chance of happening. But I really try to kind of like take him by surprise over here. Of course he's making turrets over here, but right now that I have +1 carapace and over 12 Mutas, there's really I can really just take him kind of off guard over here. And now that he's forced to bring pretty much all of his Goliaths up to the natural, to now that all his turrets are dead, I'm trying to look for another chance or opening over here where I can use my Mutalisks to kind of like harass him. And since Goliaths do not have the mobility that Mutalisks have, so this is a good chance to kind of like take some extra kills over here, kill his turrets and so on. Like I can pretty much with so many Mutas, I can pretty much kill turrets for free. Like I don't even lose Mutas or lose much hit points when it comes to fighting against turrets with Mutas. So it's really good to do this. Kind of like I forced him to keep making turrets, and secondly I forced him to move his army around remaking those turrets, and if he ever does not remake them, then, or if he's late with and many other reasons, then I will be able to really cripple his economy right away. So right now it's just mealistic production, getting my economy up. Meanwhile, like, this is also what I do, what I did in my previous FPVOD against Mech. I keep getting my whatever lacking economy I might have up. Meanwhile, while I keep making mutas, and that's why mutas are so good. I can keep harassing. I can keep keeping him on his toes while he's doing whatever he is, and I can just keep droning up meanwhile, and my army still keeps growing up and so on. So right now it's pretty obvious though that he's gonna try and push out. So right now is the time when I stop my drone production and I kind of make units instead. Now this is a kind of greedy attack. I should never do this kind of a mealistic greedy attack, since obviously he's gonna have more than enough Goliaths to block simply pure muta attack. But it happened, and it really shouldn't have, but it did, whatever. So right now it's just massing up. Like after I know that he's gonna move out, or there's a big chance of him moving out, it's all about massing up and stopping your drone production just to stop his push. Like a big part of the TVZ is destroying the first and like ZvT is like succeeding or not succeeding with the first Terran push. Like if I can just destroy his first push, then it's the game is pretty much over there. That really doesn't usually happen if the Terran is any good though. So the thing is that you try to scatter him and slow him down. Like over here his army was scattered, so I used that chance to pick off whatever units I can, and after that I back off and gather up a bit more. So now it's just I keep making a few sunken colonies as an extra defense, kind of to slow him down. Of course he has tanks, but these sunken colonies do still slow him down, and those sunken colonies are like super effective against whatever mech build he might be doing. So it's really good to make a couple of sunken colonies, at least if you're desperate. It slows him down, and it really gives you a huge advantage over the mech army if he ever attacks with the pure Goliaths. Now I figure out that he's kind of slow with this stuff. He's pushing out, and my army has a lot more mobility than he does. So what am I gonna do? Either I try to counter him now that I know that he's trying to attempt a second expansion over here through the minimap. So I figured out that now that he's not really attacking me, I can pretty much just counter him and come back after that. Like this is all what ZvT against Mech is. It's all about countering whatever he does and then coming back to finish him off. So I figured that I can counter this and come back in time to, since I have those sunken colonies, I can come back in time after that to and so on. Of course, it's unlikely that I would be able to destroy his base with that army, and even if I would be able to, I'm not about to make that kind of a gamble. So I'm pretty much just so I decided to just slow his second expansion down, which is really necessary, and after that I prepare for a big flank over here. Like what did I lose over here? I slow his second expansion down, making this a very hard situation for him, and then I just make a huge flank over here from both sides, and this is very important against Mech. You always want to try to attack from as many directions as possible, and so on, especially if you have a Hydrus, and then it's pretty much GG after that. There's not much more. GG.